enforcement and cybersecurity professionals, but for everyone who wants to dive into the world of cybersecurity. Over the course of this webinar series, we aim to share practical knowledge, current trends, and meaningful discussions that contribute to a safer digital future. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our distinguished speaker, Dr. Amrit Chhetri. Dr. Amrit Chhetri is a cybersecurity and quantum computing expert with more than 24 years of experience. He specializes in quantum safe security and leads innovation through quantum research labs and digital forensics labs. Honored with 2022 ISF Cyber Defender Award for his contributions to cybersecurity, he is a thought leader in APAC and holds key roles with Internet Society and Cloud Security Alliance. He also supports global quantum education through QL initiatives. So, not discussing further, let's start the session. Over to you, sir. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Over to you, sir.
First, thank you very much, Niharika, for very nice and precise compilation of my uh, profile or my works. Secondly, I'm very thankful for Cyber Weekend, the initiative, and its entire team from WHS, in short. And I'm very pleased
Our
and
pleasure, sir.
honored. Yeah, I'm very pleased and honored to be one of the speaker or the guest speaker for your Cyber Weekend session. And without taking much time, I would like to start the session. Let me share my slide. Firstly, can you please confirm it is visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, once again, we are very happy to welcome you all to this Cyber Weekend session. And today's session is practical approaches of malware forensic and threat intelligence, memory analysis, and reverse engineering. Myself, I'm Dr. Amrit Chhetri. I'm a cybersecurity scientist and author. I have around 25 years of experiences. I'm into experience and I'm into multidisciplinary domains. I started my career as the BI analyst and starting 2014, I'm data scientist for various projects. And I was also the architect of many great solutions, corporate solutions, including cybersecurity solution for some of the government initiative in 2016. In this session, I'll explore or I'll take you all the participants to the memory analysis, understanding of threat intelligence, some of the idea and scope of hackathon. Firstly, let's quickly see, or let me have a very short question, very short question. To be more interactive, just in the chat box. A bit difficult, but a common question. Which organization in India gives or designs DFL, Digital Forensic Lab standards? Just a quick question. You can just give a guess, only for 1 minute. I expect all the participants to respond back. Okay. I got a first question. Yes, it's slightly true for some of the specific project connected with DRDO. There is one generic or nodal agency in India which is responsible for designing a standard for digital forensic labs, other than the other standards. BSI, yeah, some of the standard, but not in generic. RBI, yes, correct. But for their project, if it is for financial domain or financial projects, that is true. I foresee not true. Some of them, but not exactly. Yes, Start India is the nodal agency known for creating or for guiding for the standards of digital forensic labs in India. Thank you very much. Firstly, many of you may be from law enforcement and some may be just the enthusiast. But the goal is to be familiar with the different practices of today's topic, that is malware analysis and threat intelligence using only two specific steps or the SOP. That is, the first one is memory analysis, second one is the reverse engineering. So these are the some of the tools to cover the advanced part of the understanding. You can find time to go through them. And here are the some of the certification if professional wants to grow in reverse engineering and memory forensic. The very first one is GERM, then ICMA, and ICMA is from GAC, that is very known for everyone, but we also have the specific certification from Indian organization, ISAC Foundation. I'm also the member of some of the initiatives out there, so can try to acquire certification from there. Or next, memory analysis for reverse engineering. The first part is the lab understanding. I'll make it more towards the discussion plus the labs because the topic itself is practical approaches instead of just giving some statistics. We'll focus on understanding the real labs. When I did one quick survey in the some of the session about do you have a prior experience in memory forensic, 70% say no, 10% yes, and 20% no response. I have no really great idea about here, but we can uh, do in future. But right now we'll just move because I have many other topics to really explore today. Now, just like in the standard forensic lab, we need two virtual machine. One is the Windows and one is the Linux as a part of the standard machine to do some of the practical process of memory forensic. Second one is the business environment to see the impacts, but we'll not talk that one because it cannot be done in 90 minutes. And uh, the ethical hacking system or the pen testing environment with Kali Linux or Parrot OS. I encourage everybody to have some interest to keep this ready. If it is already running, just run or restart right now so that we can do it parallelly. And also to cover some of the advanced part of the memory forensic, some hardware level devices really helps to get into the deeper side of understanding, such as multimeter, drones to really acquire the evidences, and for the dead devices can use some of the advanced practices such as old geotech practice or chip of forensic. But in the latest devices also the similar practices, acquisition of the firmware, which all are supported by some of the devices such as chip of bugs, uh, precisely for a smaller scale rib bugs, and good part that these days is available in Indian market too. And to do the network forensic for the malware analysis can take the help from the routing devices or the sniffing devices through some of the specific Wi-Fi adapters. One of the popular and the standard one is standard means for ethical hacking practice is the TP-Link TL-Win 2200 227N. If you already have some others, just take time to do that. Please be muted. Now, next part, focusing or explaining the question I started. This is the question I learned at the last when I did my 2 to 3 years of learning, I think, learning COF in 2010 or 2014. But here, I just want to take it to the first. Now, digital forensic best practices gives the practitioners or the experts the new dimension or keeps the process or exercises error free. The first is the physical security. We all know that the labs have to be secure from all physical threats. Can you be muted? If not, Niharika, please help support to be muted. Second is the lab environment standards, shielding the evidences from external threats or external stimulus, electronic, physical, or maybe physical, or the cyber physical, and the cyber and the climate sensor to look at into the temperature, humidity to keep the different evidences secure from external threats. In many of these situations, the evidences are tampered not because of the physical access, but also in the changes of the temperature and humidity. We face many such challenges when I was helping some cyber department of different police agencies, and it's good to have this some automated sensor, even not automated, some kind of monitoring activities for the temperature and other climatic condition. Keeping the technical standards up to date for the network, right blockers, dedicated forensic workstation, and doing their testing as per the standard which I have given below. Operational standard for creating best operating standard with SOP. If someone are at the beginning, SOP can be designed for a specific investigation or creating the sub branches of investigations. Or we can say these are the flow of the investigation of the large scale investigation, dividing into some modular approaches. And second is the international standards. There are many standards. Let's not focus on taking all of them. One of them is SWGDE is the world popular standards for digital forensic. You can quickly browse it to get more details. And second one for governance, ISO 30121. There are other standards such as the standards for the calibration of the tools and the standards for uh, the techniques and the labs, such as NIST 886. And one of the popular, which are at the global scale, is the ASL-CLD. ASL-CLD is the American standards for calibration of the labs and the tools. And when you talk about the Indian practice, there are many standards, many laws, but as said, one of the generic from the nodal agency is the Short India Guidelines for Digital Forensic Lab. And for governing different practices and the evidences, we have new laws, that new criminal laws and the old information acts, just to be aligned and to be proper in that one. Now today's session, first is the lab, I finished. Second is having the uh, volatility in place with the different set of the steps and standards. Then there's some use cases, challenges, and solution. Then understanding bit about the malware analysis, malware forensic, along with the threat intelligence. And then at the end, I'll present how they can combine together to generate the IOC out of the memory forensic analysis. Let me quickly take you to the one of the controversial side of the digital forensic. So far, we are fatherless. Digital forensic experts are fatherless because the industry has not accepted anyone or any expert as the digital forensic uh, expert itself. Means there is no one well recognized person known as the digital father of digital forensic. Unlike we have the father of AI, father of machine learning, but there are many experts who were responsible or who contributed really great work to the digital forensic world. On that basis, and some of the voting I made in the past, Michael Anderson or the Peter Garfinkel, they are the two known popular experts in digital forensic, and we can consider them as the father of digital forensic. Can you be muted, please? Yeah. Now, next, it's a good idea to align the understanding as well as the different practice or finding the time to learn new thing as per the latest trends. This is my way of keeping the learning track smarter and the best. The first thing is to know about the trends and then the requirements and then align and invest the time as needed. That's the most effective way of finding time and then making the learning effective or useful for different requirements and purposes. The first is the trend. Due to the fast growing fast growing adoption of the devices in the cloud environment, we have the need of remote forensic. And to support the different devices at home as well as in office, IoT forensic is the second trend. As they are smarter, the industry also is trending to use the AI for digital forensic. Then going further, there are many threats have been recognized by the industry as well as by the from the quantum system. To really deal with that one, we are looking into the quantum resilient forensic to understand how to perform the forensic of the PQC, that is post quantum cryptography, and to also understand the threats coming from the quantum platform, such as use of source algorithm, use of other platforms such as the fault-tolerant computer as announced recently by IBM. As most of the platform right now, not only in the cloud, but they are also the cloud native. So cloud native forensic is also trending, not this year, but also starting 2020. So other are also there. One of the common and one of the new out of these trends is agentic apps forensic, which I proposed based on the recent conference by Microsoft and other organizations. Is basically to see the forensic approaches of the different agents used in agentic web application, how they interact, what kind of the interactivity is there, and this really helpful in doing this some of the advanced forensics such as uh, autonomous forensic, AE, uh, what is called autonomous vehicle forensic, as well as the drone forensic. And then this would also be used in the some of the other form of the investigations, such as web applications. The next is about different kind of the challenges. As a digital forensic, we are not free from the challenges because of multiple reasons. Those reasons could be rise of the IoT devices, large number of the data collected by the devices across different industry and then different verticals, as well as the fast growing or fast changing technological adoptions, and then the availability of the hyper super powerful computational machines such as quantum supercomputer and then the supercomputer connected in the internet. Recently, one of the country in the world have announced that supercomputer connected to the satellite. So because of that, there are many or multiple challenges. To cope up with that one, the resources and the relevant understanding about the system as well as creating the good practices is must. And here to help interested one, not for all, I've created one challenges or what is called digital forensic hackathon, can scan it and can join that. This is the 3 months hackathon mentorship program. It's completely for the today's participants. Anyone who are interested can be part of it. Let me quickly share the URL here. This I'll be dissolving once the participant gets some kind of mentorship or would be able to help or participate in national level uh, hackathon, which is going to be uh, organized by different organizations, including MEIT in future. And I've also, we are prepared basically for today's participants, one sentimental analysis idea or hackathon statement, models for dark web sentimental analysis using AI and quantum AI. The details are in the one of the file that that will be available uh, through the organizers at the end of today's session or maybe by next session or inside the what is called the join group. If you join the hackathon group, there will be it will be available there. This is a special the services for today's participants from my organization. That's my cyber ops, along with the collaboration of the organizers. The next is practical approaches. We talked a few minutes back. I talked two things. One is the malware forensic and the threat intelligence, two separate things. But what we are combining is the two approaches, that is the memory forensic and reverse engineering. First, getting into the deeper side, the high level understanding. For practical approaches, malware forensic, these are the some of the SOP or the standard steps. Forensic triage, malware detection using error rules or hashing or initial extraction of IOC or using memory forensic. Then static and dynamic analysis, and in the static analysis, we can use memory forensic. Memory forensic as a separate one, and also the reverse engineering for doing the reverse engineering of the code, as well as the reverse engineering of methods used by the attackers in sending the malware to the system. And then integrating the threat platforms. It could be from the external or maybe from internal agencies to really get the best help in doing the investigations. That is for the malware forensic. Second is the practical approach of CTI. First thing is having the proper understanding of the requirements and the planning, then mapping the threat collection as per the different tools or the practices. Those includes a CTIP, Cyber Threat Intelligence Platform, memory forensic as one of the techniques, and data processing. And then enriching the collected threats by using machine learning or other tools. Let me move a bit fast. And to really do some labs, these are the different set of the evidences available for today's participants. So let me quickly share it. This is only for uh, the training and the research work. If there are some of the objectionable content which are not meant to harm or to load into any system, but when you do the analysis, always keep in the isolated environment. If you are doing outside the isolated environment or outside the sandbox environment, just ensure that it's well protected or some standard are followed by your system. The second is the set of the forensic images from volatility, Android image from DFRWS, which is one of the globally standard committee, then the test image as well as the drone image. You can do the similar forensic of the drone image after finishing first one as a part of the today's understanding. The next part, we talked many things, or I explained some of the high level understanding. Next is to go to the basic or the fundamental side of the memory analysis. Memory analysis, as known from different sources, different uh, resources, as the subdiscipline. That's basically collecting the evidences from the snapshot of the memory. Is used for the threat detection, is also used for collecting the real-time evidences and understanding the behavior of the system, and also to support the incident response as well as the threat hunting practices. There are various applications. One could be malware and another for ATP investigation, ransomware investigation, crypto analysis, and as such to support the threat intelligence platform, as well as to support the IRT, that is incident response team. In doing just like the other forensic approaches, memory forensic follows the standard practices. The first is the identification and the preparation, then collecting evidences, then finally preparing the report. And there are different phases which are covered. Let's not look at into that one. But what I want to highlight here as a part of today's discussion, if any questions or doubt, do let me know. The 7 principle of digital forensic. This has not been discussed quite often, but this is a good place or platform to discuss in today's session. The first is the preservation of evidence. This principle is primarily to indicate or says that original data should not be used, and there should not be any alteration in the original form or original information. Second is the chain of custody. This principle says that every information collected should be maintained through the one logs, and that is basically the recording of handling of evidences from source to the investigator. And the acquisition principle, that is data acquisition, it says that accurate and complete information should be acquired as a part of the acquisition. There are many more, but what we see the top level understanding. Data analysis, this principle says that in doing the analysis, it should be done as per the standard practice, as well as it should be admissible to the court of the law and also to meet the goal of the investigation. Well-documented report is necessary in the PDF and well-protected structure, and the standard rules of collecting the evidences from the expert witness as well as the eyewitnesses, all the proper description of the crime scene in the report. All evidences should be collected, must be admissible in the court, and it is crucial that it's maintained by the admissibility principle. And the last one, but very important, this out of the seventh one says that it is really important for the professionals to maintain the quality of the ethics. And then respecting the privacy and the data protection is crucial. That's also the part of our standard of the present law, DPDP Act, right? Data protection, DPDP, that was introduced in 2023 or 2024. Yeah, effectively. Next is there are different ways of the procedure, but it's also good to really look at into the standard operating procedure in understanding deeper side of the investigation. It's basically nothing but to define the scope, the procedure of collecting evidences, and doing the analysis as per the standard practice of seven principle of digital forensic. Will not look at into much on this. If you look at into the one of the investigation, let's say memory forensic investigation for malware analysis, that can be broken down for three different or four different SOP. For it's for incident response, second memory analysis, then forensic analysis, reporting and documentation. In this way, there could be four different SOP, but it can be designed or defined alternatively in other ways too. Second is about the lab. As we already into the advanced section, or most of the participants may already be familiar with the standard tool FTK. We are not going to invest much time on this one, but what I do is acquiring the evidences or the memory snapshot through FTK. Uh, what I want to do is I want to keep this as a part of this session, but not the discussion on the FTK and the acquisition tool. Then also the sum of the labs using volatility. Let's quickly see how we can do that. Let me quickly go back to the tools part here. In memory forensic, we have different tools, a different set and type of the tools, but some of them are not appropriate and not free. So in that case, volatility, TSK, and the FireEye red line or maintained red line are commonly used by the expert, by the researcher, as well as the professional. Now, what we are going to see is the installation of volatility from basics to the operational steps. But to start it, the first thing is to know about the site. It is a bit challenge at the beginning to configure it, and the steps are common for the Windows, Mac, as well as the Windows and the Linux. On going here, simply visit this one, not the volatility 2.6, but volatility 3.0, and then clone it. If any question, just keep ready at the end of the session. I'm presenting considering many of the participants are not really interested to configure the lab, but you still can understand all the practical approaches and the practical steps, so that can guide some of the team members as well as can write some good notes on that. So on that basis, the first thing is to clone it. Create the folder and clone like this. If we clone here, for doing that, simply git. After typing the git, we can write clone, or should write clone and then the URL. On doing this, it clones all the files and folder here. The next part is following the steps as given here, and all the experts who are going to be part of the mentorship program will get this directly in the group, or if others are interested can ping through the organizers. I'll be able to, or I'm happy to share it after the or at the end of the session. So the first step is to install Python, and we'll check the Python whether it's installed or not. For that, simply type Python, then -v. That gives the Python version. After that, second is create the folder we already did, then the clone, and then download the symbol tables. In running the volatility in the Windows, and if it is the latest version 3.0, we need to have or should have the symbol table, which is here. Simply put inside the volatility folder, and inside it again the symbols, and then there is Windows. Just unzip it, you will get the PDB file here. After that, the next part is to check whether everything is being configured properly or not. For that, the first thing is to see whether Python, the whole file is there or not. We did all the installation, so good that it is setup is there, whole is there. Now I'm going to demonstrate how it can be used for reverse engineering as well as for the memory forensic. Oh, for the threat intelligence and memory forensic. Now in this one, simply type Python and then that file. After that, this, then the evidence file. I have this file, and then Windows to see different plugins. Also to check if everything is configured well or not. So these are the different plugins available from Volatility. To know more about it, simply follow the Volatility, what it's called, reference guide. These are some of these steps. And here we are going to see Volatility reference page 3.0. correct and put it. Otherwise, may feel. Yeah, this wiki. It compiles all the starting from the beginning, and what we are going to see, the first one is info. For info, image info, this is the one. So how will run it? Simply this and info. It gives the architecture of the system, from where the memory is acquired, as well as the some other metadata information of the infected or the target system. Once it is done, the next is to see how to approach or how to apply the techniques of memory forensic in doing the reverse engineering as well as for the malware forensic. For that, let's see what are the some of the AI tool has to say. Let me drive you to the depth of the AI. So here, use of AI for malware analysis, what we see is practically steps of malware forensic using memory analysis. That's also using volatility. It's a well-formed statement. I should get to very qualified outcome. First thing is to have the memory, that's the very true. Next is the practical process. We already followed it. After that, looking into the processes and then detecting the injected process and then finding the DLLs and then the network connections, then dumping the suspicious processes and then checking the injected code and also looking for the strings. So we'll follow all this, whichever are possible. To extend or to power it further, Yara can be used. Yara is the rule-based engine for detecting different threats as well as malware that can be integrated or gets integrated with the volatility quite easily. And here are the some of the plugins that can be used as a part of the malware investigations. Also, we have the best practices. Under the best practices, it's encouraged to work in the isolated environment and then also to keep the backup of the system, finding the correlated and the appropriate plugins and others. So let's quickly start. I already have it. Now under this, we can see these are the metadata information about the image I used here. The image could be any. The next one, what we can see is the process list. That is also the steps given above here in this one. After image, this is the image info. And the next is checking the process. So either by PS list or PSC scan. Instead of this, I'll be using different image, that is WannaCry image. This is a real WannaCry image of the image, memory image of the system infected by WannaCry in 2016 or maybe by end of 2016 within 2017. What the scope or the goal is to find all the processes, including the process started by the some of the malware or the some uh, decoder as well as the file encryptor of WannaCry ransomware. This is a bit challenging, but once you have the lab environment, it becomes quite easy. Once again, encourage everyone to really make it in the separate environment. I have configured with some secure options here. So I'm just doing in the same machine. So one of the process out here is a WannaCry decryptor. Itself is a one of the malware of the malicious program. And also we can see other processes. The CSRC is common, but still we can check whether it's infected or the malware or not, as a malicious program or not. How that is possible? Let's start with the next steps. Now, once it is identified that one of these processes is suspicious, next to look at into the sub-processes or associated sub-processes. For that, for me, I have no time much on it, so I have created some of the designated steps here, PS3. What is going to display here, or what we can see, is the list of the associated process, probably the tree associated with the this WANA, what is called WANA decryptor, as well as for the others. And then also the file attached to the given process. And you can see here, it is definitely attached to the one of the program. It's inside the Intel, and then going further, that's the WANA decryptor. Let me quickly get it into the what is called the process ID to really see for, the decryptor and its subcomponent. I consider this is not the what is called workshop, or is not really the webinar. Even I want to combine both. Those who just want to have the high level understanding can see the steps, can understand the different standards, different methodology, and the procedure and use cases. And if there are the experts who want to configure it right now, let's give a pace for them. Here is the quick pace. I mean to say, spoiler, just 2 minutes, not more than that, that they can start making it simply following the procedures I discussed. Now here is another quick question. Simply type yes or no without anything, any tool in the past, writing, reviewing articles, doing the investigations, or being a part of the book writing, any work, how you are associated with it. Okay, no response. Really nice. Or is it nice, or someone really don't want to respond? Anyhow, that's really great. Okay. Okay, Indranil Mondal, that's really nice to see you here. Okay. Uh, you can see it's a mix of a 50-50, or mostly no yes in the same sequence. That means we can consider it 60% no and 40% yes. But really nice that those who are already familiar can get into the deeper side of it by visiting the wikis and then creating own set of the instruction. Let's say from here we want to see a very common, as we are talking about the malware, malfind. On malfind, the approach is to see whether there is any malicious program in the memory image or not, simply by typing malfind. Now, in doing this, I may not missed, but I want to say or want to integrate one practice, which is also the practical approach I discussed at the beginning, although it's already used by the industry, but for those who are not from the industry may find a bit difficult from here. In this slide, I talked about the practical approaches or the steps of malware forensic, where we have the malware forensic triage. Is basically the practice of doing the preliminary investigation or the very high level understanding about the different IOC attached in the memory that can be done or which are collected by different means. And one of them is with the help of the tools dedicated to the malware forensic triage. So what tool can be used? Before using the volatility for the deeper understanding edge through a set of the good tools. One of them is Mendent Redline. Other may follow different approach, but this set of the steps are quite common and generic. Just later also you can simply change the tools or the procedures, but the overall steps would always be the same. What it does, it allows to perform the memory analysis, but in the library environment, as well as to extract the IOC indicator of compromise, what is the IP address, what kind of the URL is the users visiting in, and what's their statistics. Or the it also allows to see the flow of the traffics as well as the users associated with the different applications. Let me move to the, okay, I just want to share this one here. And also by using one free tool from Belkasoft, that is Belkasoft probably D. Yeah, right now it's completely free. Instead of R is the remote, which is not free. Belkasoft. It is free, it's smarter, and it's one of the best solution. Award-winning solution. Simply get it with your ID, and that gives the support for all kind of triage and triaging activities. This I just want to demonstrate here, Mendent. What I've started is the analysis of the memory collected from one of the infected systems. That's precisely the system infected with the WannaCry ransomware. Now, next step is to understand how to acquire the image, or what are the different tools available for acquiring the evidences from the infected systems. It is. Before that, let's see the outcome of this one. Here we can see the identifier or the pointer that says that it is available in this address, and it considered or it has identifies these addresses contain some kind of the malicious program. And now next is quite easy to look at into the file and then also the information available in this address. What we'll do now is extracting one of the malicious process. Before that, we'll also do some other kind of the scan. Uh, that could be the netcon or network connections or maybe DLL list. Depending upon the support for the version, some of the plugins, this is called plugins windows.dll list, may not work for all the images. Also look for the some alternative approach for that one, and one of the alternative is use of the some of the advanced tool or the some professional grade tools such as Belgasoft X. It has the integrated features for analyzing the image. Once you create the one use case, simply load it into it, and then that performs the all kind of the analysis which are done by the volatility. But this is licensed one, and this is the best solution for those who have established the lab and looking for memory forensic solutions. This is not there. So for that, next we'll dump the one of the process. Before that, let's quickly see what to dump. A dump means to download in the system. For that, again, we'll run this one, ps list, to see the process ID of one of the malicious program or one program that is the decryptor. WannaCry decryptor, we have seen that has the process ID, if I'm not wrong, 1940. Let's confirm by running this once again. It's going a bit slow. Let's move to the some other slides. I already demonstrated the first PS list and then also the information about the image. In some of the scenarios, it's also important to see who is the victims or who was impacted by the ransomware attack. In that case, it's possible to dump out all the users connected to the system. And that also allows to see the active users by decoding their activities. So let's see that by using the hashdam. Now here, this is 1940. And to dump, we should use this kind of the construct, the same one, and then the process ID, and then the hyphen hyphen dump. By doing that, it extracts it and then puts in the system. But before that, ensure that it's running in the one of the isolated environment. Once it's downloaded or extracted, and if it is executed, that may start decrypting or encrypting the file. To save it, we got this file, that's 1940 from the memory image. Now to analyze it further, for the reverse engineering, we need to have the exe file. Right now it's not the exe, it has some other extension. Simply change it. If malware, it's anti-malware or the antivirus is installed, that may say it cannot. Yeah, it changed. 19 this one. Next is to do this some further steps. This also has can consider it's one of the malware as the ransom. Next to see the different TTP, tactics, techniques, and procedure used inside it. Also, some of the IOC indicators or the information available from the virus total. This may not be supported, or the information extracted from virus total may not be applicable, but a similar approach can be used in the real investigations or to confirm the finding. Yet it is been not often used in the real forensic, but it still can connect the information. Now it allows to load different information. One is the hash value, another is URL or the file. We are going to upload the file here. This is the malware which is extracted by memory forensic. Now this is going to detect whether it's malware or not. Most of them say it's a malware. 90% of them say it is a malware. And also here are the details. The first is the signature, that is through different cryptographic schemes. Second one is the file size, creation date. Then also whether it is signed or unsigned. And going further, the product and copyright details, compilers that was used in making the product, and then virtual addresses associated on it. And also we can see more details that is about the DLL imports. So these are the different kind of the DLL it imports or connects on running that program. One is a kernel 32, which is generally not called by the standard or the regular business applications. User 32, ADB API 32, and the MSBCRT 32. Going further, it also says that what kind of the resource it combines in the registry. There's RT manifest, RT version, and then the language, and then at the end, the different resources. And it's giving the entropy here. This is really important in doing the large scale or the critical investigation. Just finish this one. Now next is doing the hashing of this one by using hash done. Now next we'll keep the goal of doing the reverse engineering using either Ghidra or IDA Pro to look at into the some of the imports which were reported by the virus total and to confirm, yeah, these are the different DLLs which are connected to the programs or the extracted malware or using memory forensic. Okay, here I'm just putting one questions. Before that, we have the wiki I shared here, right? Wiki. Okay, not yet. This is the volatility. And here is the question. Which plugin identifies malware? Which plugin, right? We talked many plugin, but the plugin that identifies malware is very specific. Can you just type the name out here? Okay, very nice. We were responded it. I have just 28 minutes. So let me be fast here. There should be some question and answer session. Thank you very much. Now next is the malware analysis using memory forensic. So far we covered the tools. Here is a quick recap or the revision, or we can say quick glimpse of the tools we used in the a few slides. The new tool I introduce here is the Microsoft ABML. If the memory is to be acquired from the Linux system, in that case, the FTK measure and cache measure may not be helpful. In that case, Microsoft ABML supports the right kind of acquisitions uh, from uh, from a Linux-based system. Here are the same emails. Now let's talk about this. Now, malware forensic. So far, we understood the objectives of memory forensic. Now, looking into the further to combine them together for malware forensic. Just like the other forensic is also the discipline or sub-discipline, precisely sub-discipline, deals in the malware analysis by identifying the TTP as well as identifying the malicious nature of the program by the standard memory forensic practices, that is acquisition of evidences, analyzing them, and then collecting the necessary or correlating the evidences. It also helps the security team to understand the better sides of the security controls for the organization and then gives the information for the CTI, Cyber Threat Intelligence Team, to fit into the CIT team or the CIT platform, Cyber Threat Intelligence. Cyber Threat Intelligence Platforms, TIP, if I add, that will be the platform here. And one I demonstrated a few minutes back using VirusTotal, where it displayed the set of the information, not only the hash value, but also the DLL connected, the signature connected, which are really useful or used in the real investigations. The scope of malware forensic starts with the basic investigation to the code injections, as well as in this environment or today's environment, the injection of the code in the human brain through the sum of the sensor. If someone has to go to the some of the latest happening, a device remains connected to the brain, and the malware forensic can help in whether someone's brains were hacked or not by looking into the image acquired from the some of the sensors. And methodology is always standard. We already see the different methodology of memory forensic, which is also common for the malware analysis. Now, one of the techniques I introduced here is the reverse engineering of attack methodology. It's really great approach to really see whether someone really misused the vulnerabilities or not. Let me explain the way how the WannaCry attacked the system. WannaCry was able to impact or was able to enter the system by exploiting vulnerabilities in the SMB, server message block. Any system that has or that had a version below 1.0 or 2.0 that was impacted by that time. Yes, the 2.0, this 1.0 was impacted. In that case, there must be a way to look at into how that techniques or the how that vulnerability was exploited. One of the way is to do the reverse engineering. So let's quickly see the 7 different phases of cyber kill chains. This will be a revision for those who are already into this field, but for the fresher, it will be a new experience to apply the cyber kill chain for reverse engineering of malware. I'm taking very specific scenario, that is ransomware. How ransomware investigation can be enhanced further by or with the help of the cyber kill chains reverse engineering. It has the 7 phases. Suppose, not suppose, this was established by the WannaCry. Now, next to see how that created command and control. If it was created, how the malware was installed in the system. If it was installed, but definitely it was installed, then next to see what kind of exploitation happened in the whole process, and how WannaCry team created the weaponized bundle and then sending methodology or the sending methods, not methodology, methods. In that case, that was sent by the connected network devices. And in understanding that, next would be to see how that was weaponized, as that was really known. But the next, if it was not known, the steps would have been the weaponization procedures, understanding weaponization procedure. Now, after that, the very beginning of the whole process, attack methodology, must have been the reconnaissance, collecting the suspect system or some set of the IP address, or also designing some information about the targets. Now, in that case, that could be through the collection of the email addresses or the conferences, images through information through social engineering and other techniques. Now here we'll also find some approach how it was done and how to collect this level of information by getting the image that has been generated by this action and objectives. There are such as MITR attack framework to know more about that. Also at MITR Atlas for knowing more about the a different set of the machine learning algorithms and its vulnerabilities. I've created one case study here. Anyone interested can look at into that. The one of 2004 or 5, that is CBI versus Arif Azim. Second is a Shreya Singhal versus UOI. And next is looking into the some more details by using volatility, that is to find the uh, statistics, how the network traffics were generated, and to know more about the network traffics. In this one, the same one, must be feeling excited, but those who were not excited may find some interest to master it for multiple reasons. As the session title itself is not really to understand anything, but to practice something or to do the practice after the session. Just to be motivated and then finish as much as you can, just like me. Probably I took around 2 to 3 months to compile everything in one place. And after this session, you may find lesser, you may do that steps or those steps in lesser than 2 or 3 minutes. 2 to 3 hours. You can see it was running there. One disclaimer I did at the beginning or said in the beginning that depending upon the version of the systems, some of the plugins may object or may find some issues. And good part is to create some alternative plugins approach. I changed the image, don't be confused here. I just changed the image to make sure that this steps runs well. As I don't have the others could be finding the session using sessions and then also to deeper going deeper inside the session ID by typing there's a PID and then giving the session ID from the previous one, a process ID from the very beginning, that is the PS list. This malfind we executed to look at into the signatures of the address of the different malicious program in any of the system. Now next part is reverse engineering. To be very good that are able to finish on time. So far, we understood how to extract the malicious program using memory and the different approaches of collecting the informations for malware analysis using memory analysis or memory forensic. Next is to see how it can be enhanced further or what are the different scope of reverse engineering in doing the malware analysis. Now it is a bit connected. The first was to do the analysis and then extract some malware and then doing the reverse engineering and then also getting into the another side that is for the threat intelligence. Now first out of the second one, two combination that is a threat hunting and cyber threat intelligence and the reverse engineering. We'll look at into the reverse engineering parts first. There are different set of the tools which are used in reverse engineering: the compiler, static and dynamic code analyzer, debuggers, PE viewers, and network analyzers. I'll focus on using Ghidra or IDA Pro. Out of the, just I skipped some of the slide. Out of the many approaches, there are three common kind of the practical approach: static, dynamic, and memory. Besides that, is also to include, it is also important to include all forensic attached to the system: network forensic, web browser forensic, operating system forensic, and then uh, web application forensic, what is called social media forensic, also be or must be included as a part of the malware analysis or as a part of the practical approaches. But here we'll focus on the last one, that is the memory analysis. Reverse engineering, as we know, it is an engineering technology for understanding information about the operating principle as an evidence by doing or reconstructing the system or the objective of the system. Or we can say that it is a way of doing the reverse process analysis of any of the application. Is used in the industrial innovation to obtain the computer model of the existing system, or rivalry also to create some defects or to find some defect. Is used in the medical science or the medical field for discovering drugs, and then also to create new kind of the services or implant options. In many of the cases, it's used for cryptanalysis to find vulnerabilities, how the substitutions or the some process were used to hide the contents, and then also to extract the systematic key and the public key schemes. By doing the deeper analysis of the cryptographic system with the help of the reverse engineering can enable the investigator to know more about the public key cryptography too, or the keys there. Now we have the one malware here. I use it. Next we'll analyze used by using one common tool called sys analyzer. And another one is by using a tool called Ghidra. To do that, first it has to be installed somewhere, and I have installed here. It's one of the most advanced tool in digital forensic, or is precisely in a malware forensic, or more deeper in reverse engineering. It was leaked by the Shadowbreaker hacking group or hacker group. Let us skip there only. But the first thing is to know more about its URL. That's Ghidra. Second tool I discussed here is the sys analyzer. So what you can do, you can copy the whatever URL or the details I shared, and then save them as those information in text file, so that you can use the steps and the procedure later for either to do the labs as well as to two tools. One is the Ghidra, another is the sys analyzer. Firstly, we'll see by loading it into the sys analyzer. Our sample copy is the one, or the evidence sample copy is the one that I extracted from the WannaCry ransomware system. It's the one. You can see it's been generated here. Probably I should not have, but that is the decryptor. If it was the encryptor, I would have been in the big trouble. You can see something went wrong here. That means the file has been modified or something went wrong here. Right, so this is one trouble here. Or maybe some modification happened. Not a problem, we just finish everything. All are here. This one folder. Okay, here is also there. I'll just load it, this one. The first one is this. Let's load here. Still I can see here, this was there because of that. load the another executable. So this is also the another malware. It starts getting into the different analysis. Here you can see running processes, ports and DLLs, the linked files and everything. And what it performs is also the different services which are executed or connected by this system or the that files or by this software to that file. You all can get the tool here. This is the installer, and what we are going to see is the reverse engineering details. Before that, all the details are extracted by this one. And one more tool which is commonly used in reverse engineering, HIDA Pro. It comes with two variants. One is the professional one, another one is the pre one. Under this product, there is IDA free. You can see these are the different processes as well as the file and then the PID attached on that malware. With this much for today, and the last one, that is the reverse engineering using Gidra. This is again a simple something wrong went to my folder here, but I have the alternative folder probably here. Not wrong, but that's on running that it's been removed. Noted and memory forensic. Yeah, I have here. But still, that's again a lot of changes, lot of things. So you all can configure that, takes hardly 20-30 minutes. You do request the file is here, and Now this is the last lab for today's session to do the reverse engineering of all the processes. For that, the file we decided to use is this one, mal executive from here or there. Firstly, need to add the file, and then once added, next would be doing the reverse engineering by itself, or is already added. So this is added here, and on opening it, would be able to see these steps. So here, click on analyze, then next. Here are the different steps. I don't have much time, so not explaining anything, but what you can see here is the export and the functions and the classes. So this allows to do the reverse engineering of what is called the malware extracted by the memory analysis. With this, I would like to end today's session. Now next is for Niharika, if there are any questions or any doubts, I'm open for another few minutes.
Everyone, please feel free to ask your questions if you have any.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, sir. Sir, जो भी may I ask in Hindi? Is it okay with you?
हाँ, I don't have any issue. आप हिंदी में बात कर सकती हो.
Yes, sir. सर हमने जितने सारे टूल्स यूज़ किए हैं फाइल्स हमसे एक्सट्रैक्ट कर लेते हैं सर, बट उसमें जो हम लोगों को डेटा एक्सट्रैक्ट होता है उसमें कुछ ऐसे पॉइंट्स होते हैं जिससे हम आइडेंटिफाई कर सके कि एग्जैक्टली यही फाइल या फोल्डर मालवेयर या इन्फेक्टेड है. एनी क्लू सर?
आपके तो जो क्वेश्चन है memory forensic करने के बाद after that you can proceed with the standard forensic approaches. If you feel that there is a need of knowing the exact file location, in the memory may not have that information because memory has some limitation. It swaps after some time or writes back to the your cache or maybe to the hard drive as per the architecture of the system. In that case, if we try to look at into the some information or every information from memory, we may not be able to get that one. So next is doing the further analysis by acquiring the system of concern, maybe the victim system or maybe the attacker system, and then doing the network analysis and then further what is called the hard drive or hard disk analysis. So in that case, it's quite easier to look at into the exact file that was infected, which is not always the connected field of the memory, is not the separate field, but the connected field. If your question is how to really know the exact file or the exact location where the infection happened, but if it is other than that, you please do let me know.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other question, please?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, sir, this is Nazir, sir. I have one question. Sir, in volatility 2.6, we can find through which IP that malwares were contacted through using conscan. Is there any command in volatility 3 we can find out on which IP the malicious was sending or get connected?
Yeah, as far as there is no exact sum of the plugins in Volatility 3, but still, if you can ping me in the group, I can suggest you to give you the more accurate or exact working plugin for you.
Okay, sir. And sir, just tell me, volatility 3 just only support Windows 8, 10 and 11. I think it support for Windows XP.
It really supports Windows XP or also Windows 7, uh, but not all the plugins. Some of the plugins has a limitation and they are not meant for the older version of the operating system. What I suggest in the lab environment or your forensic workstation, keep both of them. If you have the XP, it's better not to do by the 3.0. Select to use the 2.6 and also cross-check the output from both the versions.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other question, please?
If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, so that's all for today's session. As we wrap up this webinar, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our speaker, Dr. Amrit Chhetri, for this thought provoking and informative session. Thanks to all participants for their time and energy. See you all in upcoming sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Niharika, our organizers of today's session, and all the participants for their time, passions, and then especially for us asking some quality questions. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.